Hello and welcome to this edition of the SFG Top Performance Podcast. Today it'll be pretty much just grain due to some scheduling conflicts. Scott and Kent were unable to join us. We're filming this on Wednesday ahead of Thanksgiving due to the holidays. So some of the information will be as of today, not the end of the week like we normally do. Real quick, back on the feed side, they're still running some specials. I think they've still got a Hubbard mineral special going on right now, and they've got other products. If you're weaning calves or getting things preconditioned, getting ready for winter, they can sure help you with your feed needs there. So be sure and check in with Scott and Kent both in the coming weeks. Grain markets continue to work just a little higher. We're in the post-harvest mode, you might say, even though there's still some harvest going on in our area. Overall in the nation, we're all but done. And so, as is sometimes common, we see just a little bump after the combines get put in the shed and the grain's locked up in the bin, and now we're just waiting. It appeared that farmers sold a fair amount of grain over the scale this fall. Of course, it was worth more money than normal, so they was able to garner a lot of income. And now I think anything that's stuck away is probably going to stay there till after the first of the year, or maybe even into the spring time frame. If we look back the last week and a half, 2 weeks, old crop corn gained about 9 cents. Old crop beans, that's the crop that everybody was concerned about the price diminishing. They've increased in value 36 cents. New crop corn 11 cents higher today than it was a couple weeks ago, and new crop beans are 14 cents higher. So locally that puts us in the 5.10 to 5.15 range for new crop corn, and 11.85 or give or take a nickel on the beans. Bean price probably still a good place to start doing some pricing. If we do see acres moving around and more acres going to beans, this could easily be construed as a very profitable place to be. Corn, on the other hand, I personally think we're going to have to bump that price up to keep acres coming to it. Fertilizer costs are more than double now. It's pretty easy arithmetic. Take what you paid last year, take it times 2, and that's probably about what you're going to pay this year. Seed is a little bit of an increase in general, but not excessive. Chemicals, we won't know till sometime in the next month where they're going to land. But I think it's safe to say that they too will at least double a lot of the common products. And again, it's a supply and demand picture. China is a big producer of the raw material needed to make several of our chemical compounds, and they have shut down some of the mines trying to clean their air up prior to the Olympics being held there in February. That kind of seems like a weird deal to happen to foul up our farm plans, but that's what essentially is happening. They're shutting the coal-powered power plants down to clean the air, and that's what they need. That's the power they use predominantly in the country yet. So we'll see how that all plays out. Meantime, the prepays coming into companies like us for fertilizer have been huge. A lot of producers want to make sure they get not only the price locked in, but also the supply. Anhydrous season is winding down. We've been able to take care of everybody as far as supply-wise. P&K, again, higher prices, but to this date, we haven't had supply issues. They're telling us that phosphorus may become hard to get. Again, back to China. A fair amount of our phosphorus comes from mainland China, and if they're not shipping it out, that puts the burden on our domestic plants, and they are not geared up to produce what we'll consume. Add in the huge crop we took off this year and the replacement value we need to put back on the ground. It tallies up to a lot of fertilizer. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out also. Back to the acre war. we typically in this part of the world, we just look at corn and beans and the fight that they have. This year, cotton and wheat will have an influence. The bean acres, or I'm sorry, the corn acres that switch will not all go to beans. In a lot of the outlying areas, wheat will pick up acres because the wheat market is very strong today due to global demand and supplies. And cotton's very profitable. It's kind of been lagging for a few years, and suddenly the value of cotton is increased a lot of late. So soybeans will not automatically get those abandoned corn acres, and that'll be good for soybean producers. I guess in closing, I'd just like to promote the idea that you do some crop planning. I know there's a lot of crop unsold from the 2021 crop, and farmers have their bins full. They've also got some commercially stored. If they garnered enough money to this point to meet their prepays, they're typically looking at the tax issues and not wanting to push income into 2022. The carry to date is not really strong. Typically, you'd like to see 20 cents, preferably 25, to go from now to July, and it's just not there on the corn side. Beans, same way. The big driver is nearby basis is still strong. Processors and end users are trying to garner enough supply to keep their plants running full speed, and the available supply is slowing down now that harvest is done and those bushels are put away. Producers have been less receptive to hauling, and will probably look till after the first of the year before they really kick in. So keep an eye on that. There may be some opportunities to move some grain before the first of the year at a decent or actually really good basis. And we all hope the board increases in value, but basis plays a big role when we're looking at the local markets, so don't ignore that. With that, I'll wrap this edition up. In 2 weeks, the feed department will be doing a special podcast. They'll have some guest speakers, and so I'll slip aside on that date and let them have the entire program. Thank you.